So the farmers are saying, look, this idea that you will contain it, control it with the funding, the extra 2 million, I think, added to existing funding, is just not going to cut it.
Look, I know that we definitely need more funding to be able to do the job, but we are in a really tight situation at the moment financially. We've managed to get another 3 million from the IVL funding over the last year, and obviously I can't really go into what may or may not happen at next year's budget. But the other thing we're working on at the moment is, how can we do this at a much cheaper rate? So one of the options has been fire. We've already conducted one controlled burn, and we're lining up to do another one. That's obviously a relatively cheaper method than getting in a whole bunch of heavy machinery and people with chainsaws. The other options that are being looked at the moment are returning grazing to a large part of this area. One of the big mistakes I think that was made in the past was when you had a whole bunch of high country land that was taken out of farming, put into conservation, and basically nothing happened on it, and so these weeds and pests have just exploded on it. So that's another thing we're looking at, and there's also work happening around, can we utilise drones, a much cheaper way than helicopters, to get into some of these remote accessible areas. So there's we certainly, I would love more money, but I've got the budget I've got, and I'm trying to come up with ways of how we can do more with less.
Are we talking about, when you're talking about controlled burns, of conservation land?
Well, this is the area where there are wilding pines, pretty much smothered it. Now, yeah, wilding pines, it's about 50% of the wilding pine problem in the country is on conservation land, so some of it could well be on conservation land. However, I'd say where your wilding pines have taken effect, you don't have a lot of conservation or biodiversity anymore. It's pretty much
there's no bycatch.
Wilding pines.
There's very little bycatches. Basically, if you're going to burn it, you're burning just the wilding pines, which is the unfortunate reality of how widespread it is in those areas.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been to a couple of these locations where pretty much everything else has been smothered out, and it's just wilding pines. But it is, not every area will lend itself towards fire. So yeah, we're looking at a range of options of how we can do it. And obviously, as I said, I can't really talk about next year's budget, but we're working on all options.
You're trying to get some more money out of, squeeze some more money out. What about the other thing you've just raised is bringing back grazing to areas of a conservation estate, which was taken away previously. What size area are you looking at returning to grazing?
Well, DOC's got that land, but one thing I know myself and Mr Pataka have said to Federated Farmers was, come to us with a list of areas that's suitable. DOC's also looking at, what does it think would be suitable. I think there's been we're talking in the hundreds of thousands of hectares that was taken out of grazing and put into the DOC estate. So if it had been grazed in the past, there's no reason why it can't be grazed in the future. And, it's not a magic, it's not going to solve issues where you've got fully grown trees, but certainly areas where there's small seedlings, sheep and cattle will nibble on those. And the fact that you've got someone riding around in a quad bike checking on stock, they'll also have a grubber with them and be able to take out seedlings at the same time.
Presumably the reason we did that was environmental. The Green Users will love the fact that we don't have grazing going on in Department of Conservation land. Is this now proof that it was a dumb idea?
I personally think so. There's probably some areas where it was a smart idea, but there's probably other areas where, quite frankly, leaving it to be managed by the farmer was probably the better option.
Appreciate your time this morning. Andrew Hoggard, Minister for Biosecurity, on wilding pines.